documentary proof. 'Cause, with New York and everything in these states, well,
Yeah, no, I
I
don't
wouldn't say
trust
there's
the
mass
American.
shootings in New York as much. People do get killed, but
Oh
like
yeah,
only a
no.
couple, like one or
Yeah,
two in certain areas. You'll be fine.
yeah,
There's
no.
millions of people in the city.
I know, I know. I've been to New York. This will be my fourth time going, so I think I should be okay. And I
Yeah.
went the other two times when I was quite young, but yeah.
All right.
Tell you what, though, I went to Michigan the other week. I felt really nervous there. That was oof.
Why?
Well, cause dude, like the fucking people. Okay, the people drive really aggressively, right? And you
Okay.
can't flip them off because they might have a gun in them. Also, I went to a Bass Pro Shop, and there's just like Glocks and other types of handguns and assault rifles for sale, like right out in the open. It really caught me off guard. Like I heard about it, but I'd never seen it before. It was very strange, to be honest. Yeah. Plus, I went through Detroit, right? So that's pretty self-explanatory. So, yeah. All right. Are we good to go?
I actually need to change. I need to put on these headphones because the recording's picking up both. My mic is picking up both my voice and yours. So,
Yeah. No, I can hear it. Yeah.
uh, let me just switch that up. Hello. Hello. There we go. Okay. All right. Let me change my audio capture, and we should be able to get going on this. Say something?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Play. Okay. Fantastic.
All right.
Do you want to say it or should I?
Now you can do it.
How does it go again? God, it's been so long.
Just do
Ladies,
whatever.
gentlemen, and non-binary folk, welcome to the Dead Film Critics Society. It has been a long time. It's been a semester of school for both me and my amigo right here. As you can see,
Yeah.
we're both a bit tired. I'm more tired than him, but that's okay. We're here to talk about some movies and movie news. How are you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I just forgot. I put my phone here, which is where I have all
Yeah.
the movie news. But yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
Slightly, well, couple bumpy moments in the semester for sure, but
Yeah, of course.
went well. Got to make a short film, which, because we're screenwriters, is actually technically the last time we get to make one. It seems
Oh,
because
damn.
of how they divide up the production and screenwriting students. So
Oh, so you just get to write it next time then?
yeah,
Okay.
or well, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. I might make my own stuff. I might hijack one of the sets potentially. If I have some friends in the filmmaking production side, so I might,
Yeah.
kind of get more involved in a set than, in theory, maybe I would normally, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Great. Great stuff. Well, before we get into the news, do you want to quickly tell the people watching what you've been up to? Like, I know they like regarding a specific film festival. You know?
Oh yeah, so I've been covering the Hot Dogs Film Festival happening
Yeah.
in downtown Toronto. And that's been pretty fun. I
Yeah.
gotten a lot more interested in documentary film just from this experience, honestly, because except for like a couple, I haven't seen. I haven't seen anything like terrible. I probably would
I
have walked
certainly hope
out
not. It's a
though,
pretty prestigious
honestly.
film festival.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
they've picked some good films. You know, there's the two highlights for me right now are both from the ESPN 30 for 30 series. I don't know if you've seen anything from that.
I haven't. What's the two films from there? Like, what are they covering?
So one of them's called "I'm Just Here for the Riot," which covers the 2011 riot that happened in Vancouver after the Canucks lost to
I
the
remember them.
Bruins.
Pretty sure that was 2010, actually.
They said 20. I think it was the 2010-2011 season. I'm pretty sure it's 2011.
Let me check that. I swear to God, it was 2010. Because I never forget when a city riots, because it's always kind of funny. Like Toronto really rioting after, well, not really rioting, but blocking all traffic after the Leafs made it out of the first round was quite something.
Oh, did you witness that? Were you down there?
I was not down there. No, I was not home by then, but I watched the final goal, and then I saw everything happen on social media, and I was like, you know
Okay.
what, to be expected. I kind of get it,
Yeah,
So.
I was actually downtown leaving hot dogs, going to
Oh
Union
my
Station
God,
when
what
that was
was that
happening.
like?
It was a bit. It wasn't too wild. It was a little bit wild. Like the most fascinating thing, other than just everyone just whooping and honking.
Yeah.
It was like everyone in the city became kind of like a coyote cheer. Everyone like heard someone go like woo, and then you'd hear someone from like a block down do the same thing.
It was 2011. You're correct. That's my
Yeah,
mistake. Yeah.
I hope I remember that since I watched the whole documentary on it. But
Yep.
yeah, there was also kids, you know, some white kids with shirtless going downtown, sticking their head out there like mini like sedan or whatever, and
Mm,
just
yeah. I feel like these
screaming at the
celebrations
top of
would
their
make a really
lungs.
good documentary or something like that.
It could make a solid one. I didn't have
Yeah,
my
maybe just like an
camera.
observational one though.
I'm kind
Just
of waiting until they lose potentially, especially if it's game 7, because I honestly like the active. Like honestly, if they win though, there also could be a riot.
no, no, you're not wrong. Like Montreal bloody rioted in '94 after the Canadians won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
So
because it was
yeah,
funny because someone asked the filmmakers because they were there at the
yeah.
screening if they think it will happen again. They all said no. Well, one of them said maybe. I think it all probably will happen again. I don't know.
It's gonna
Maybe they
happen.
were talking about Vancouver specifically, and the answer might be no because it's already happened twice. Because it happened in '94 as well.
Yeah.
Um, and also the fact that I don't think the Canucks will make the Stanley Cup Finals again, or won't go to a Game 7 for a long, long time. At
Yeah,
least
no, the Caps
until
haven't been good for a
society
long
has
time.
changed and their AI to prevent riots. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, the Leafs did dropped game one against Florida, which was kind of disappointing,
they
but
did,
Anyways, this
but
is not a sports podcast as
this is
much
not
as
a
I would
sports
like it to be.
podcast.
We should get into some movie news. I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah,
getting
no, for
it's
sure.
weird though because I honestly most of the year I don't give a shit about hockey, but because the Leafs are actually having so much success right now, I feel obligated as a Torontonian to show them a little bit of support because I have ragged on them all these years. Anyways, movie news. Do you have anything you want to talk about first, or should I get into some of my big ones?
Let's go. Let's start with the big ones. Always want to start with the
All
big
right.
boys.
I'm glad to hear that. All right, so I've got a little bit of things stored up. I want to thank Fandom again, by the way. They really helped me with this because I don't have the sleuth capabilities, nor do I have the time to look up all these insider news things. But anyways, the first bit of news I want to talk about is have you ever played those Gran Turismo racing games?
No, but
Have you ever played any type of racing video game aside from Mario Kart?
I think I played one game of Forza or whatever.
Yeah,
Is
there
that
you
how it's
go.
called? Yeah.
But you've no
Does
doubt
Rocket
heard
League
about the
count?
yeah, you've no doubt heard about the Gran Turismo games though. They're incredibly popular racing games.
I haven't really heard about them on it. Like they're sort of familiar, but I mean I
Yeah.
saw the trailer. Well, not the the poster. I saw the poster and
Okay. Yeah.
promotion.
Yeah. Well, like they're like basically so how Microsoft has Forza as an Xbox exclusive. Gran Turismo is a PlayStation exclusive, and basically. Gran Turismo is getting a movie adaptation, and it's directed by Neil Blomkamp, who did District 9, and he also did, what else did he do? Chappie, Elysium. He's done some pretty interesting sci-fi films, and this is not sci-fi, but it's based off a true story. It talks about how this kid in the UK won a competition through the Gran Turismo Racing Academy to be an actual race car driver. And yeah, that's what's basically the film's basically going to be chronicling. And from what I've seen in the trailer, the racing sequences are going to be nothing short of amazing. Like you got the steady cam that follows the car super close, and there's not a ton of like jump cuts. It's like very much in the action, and there's lots of long takes, and I really like that. And I haven't seen much from Neil Blomkamp in a while. The last film he directed was Chappie in no, sorry, was it? No, yeah, it was Chappie in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, and that was 8 years ago. So it is nice to see something from him again, and I don't think it's going to be like an amazing film, but I think it's still going to be very entertaining, and I look forward to watching it. To be honest with you, I don't know what your thoughts on that are, but hit me.
I'm pretty indifferent, if I'm being honest. I probably won't see it in theaters, most likely. Maybe if one of my friends is interested in seeing it, I'll go. I have nothing against it. I like David Arbor. He's has a role in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I liked Ford versus Ferrari. If we're gonna mention another racing movie,
Actually, just saw that on the weekend. I quite
Okay.
liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's a good movie.
Hmm.
Nothing amazing, and I'm sure this will kind of be the same. It will definitely probably be entertaining,
Oh yeah.
but I definitely don't expect it to end up being like somehow like one of these like franchise movies that ends up like very
Oh,
much
definitely not.
extending past expectations that
Yeah.
actually has a really strong emotional hook. But
To be honest, I feel like it might just be a one-off thing, and even if that's the case, I'm okay with that. I don't think like to get like a racing game like Gran Turismo, you can't really build a franchise off that because there's not much of a story. It's really just about racing, right? And
yeah,
I feel like
well,
what this movie's doing is interesting, and also the fact that it's bringing in this like true story, right? That's I think
no,
that's
that's
what we can
cool.
really
I
do
didn't
with
know
it.
about that, so that's an interesting thing. I mean,
Yeah, I
technically
didn't know.
Mario doesn't have a story though, and they're
Sorry.
gonna make just as a side to like a video game without a story. Mario doesn't really have one, but they're gonna
Oh
make the
no.
shit out of those Mario movies after what
I
this
mean,
one has.
technically speaking, it does. I mean, their whole goal is just to fight bad guys, save the princess.
I
Like that's
guess isn't the
yeah.
whole point of Gran Turismo to win the race? It's not that it's not that much more story. Is all I'm saying. You know,
Yeah,
they have a very
you're not wrong
simple
there. I will give you
goal
that.
and some obstacles kind of thing.
Yeah.
Except I
Yeah.
guess there's not really even like a. Anyways, yeah.
Yes.
But anyways, I mean, they're obviously going to make a lot more Mario movies.
Oh,
Is
of
my
course.
point.
Speaking of the Mario movie, it had one of the highest grossing opening weekends for an anime movie ever.
I think it
Which,
had the
yeah, no,
highest
it did have.
in
Sorry, you're right. It did have
at
the.
least domestically. Yeah.
Yeah. Pardon me. It was huge. Like, I will say, I don't think it was fantastic. Like, the best animated movie, in my opinion, that I saw this year was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
For sure.
I loved that, and
It's
I
a
was kind
banger.
of disappointed it didn't win Best Animated Feature, but I get why they gave it to Guillermo del Toro because
Did you see Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio?
I have not, but I've seen clips from it, and the animation is quite breathtaking there, and they did
It
that all
is.
by hand. Kudos to them. I get it. It makes sense. I don't know. It's Pinocchio. We've seen it a bunch of times,
It's
but
true. It is good.
yeah,
It's definitely different than other Pinocchio movies for
yeah,
sure. But I did prefer Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I would have wanted that to win. Guillermo
yeah.
has enough Oscars.
I agree. Yeah, but yeah, no, I thought yeah, the Mario movie was definitely fun though. I had a good time with it. It was a tight 90-minute runtime. Nothing too crazy. Also, Jack Black as Bowser was great casting as
Yeah,
usual.
no, for sure.
He puts everything into every role he's given. He doesn't half-ass anything. He really gives it his all. No matter if the movie's bad or not. I don't think he's ever had like a. Has he ever had a really bad performance that you can call upon?
Really bad performance. Not from my memory. No,
No, he's
I haven't
always
seen too much stuff from him.
yeah,
I've seen School of Rock.
yeah, of course.
Uh,
Great one. Kung Fu Panda.
he was a narrator in Apollo 10 and a half, which Richard Linklater did, was his animated movie. He's good. I haven't seen too much from him, to be fair, but everything I have seen him in, he's good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and of course he's coming back for Kung Fu Panda 4. That's another
oh
thing
yeah,
is I
Kung Fu
wanna-
Panda, and yeah,
That's a good
absolute-
segue. Yeah, there you go. I didn't even mean
absolute
to do that,
bangers.
but yeah, it's supposed to be interesting though. Apparently, the new villain is I can't remember what type. I think it's like a actually, the animal what the new villain is does not matter, but the power that they have is that they can bring back old villains. So we're gonna get to see a lot of returning characters, which should be interesting. It's almost
Yeah,
some people are saying it's like Kung Fu Panda No Way Home, and I kind of agree with that.
it is kind of. That is kind of yeah. That is what
Yeah.
they were going for. Not that they like originated the concept of bringing back old villains, but it was kind of the
Oh,
first
of
to do
course
it at
not.
that scale, probably.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, I'm excited for that. I do love Kung Fu Panda. I think it's a great franchise, you know? Like, they're all solid movies, and they're quite funny. They're not the best animated movies out there, but I definitely have fun, you know, watching them.
Yeah.
So,
I guess are
good.
they gonna, I guess that means they might bring. Are they gonna? The thing is, are those characters gonna speak? Because then they like.
No, they are, yeah. Apparently,
Okay.
yeah, Gary Oldman, Ian McShane, and,
Okay.
who played the villain in the third one? Was it,
I have no clue.
Bryan Cranston, was it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But whoever they're all supposed to come back, though. Like,
Yeah.
that's what
I was
yeah.
wondering if Gary Oldman would come back, only because I don't know. Feels like he might.
I mean, what's he doing these days? Not much, to be honest. Outside of
He's
Mank,
not. He's kind of old. Like, yeah, he's old. Well, he did
He's
a
an old
Apple
man.
series. I remember. Is it J.K. Simmons?
Oh yeah, sorry, J.K. Simmons. That's the villain. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely gonna come back. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for
Dope.
sure. But
Well,
yeah,
there
that's
you
cool.
go. Yes. Also, actually, I don't even need to look at my phone for this. Moving into my next bit of news, Dune 2's trailer just dropped
Yeah.
yesterday. Did you end up watching that trailer?
I did. I watched it a
Yeah.
couple times. I'm honestly, everyone's like very hyped over it. I'm not as hyped as the first one. I just know it's gonna be good. Like it's Villeneuve. Like I don't even.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I
it's
didn't
gonna be
necessarily
solid.
need to see the trailer because we already know what his visual style and like creation of Arrakis and Dune looks like mostly.
Mhm.
It was kind of cool to see what the new characters look like, even though Florence Pugh just kind of looks like Florence Pugh in some
Austin Butler, though.
costumes.
My God.
Austin Butler, though, does
Complete transformation.
the whitest boy alive. And, like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
I swear to God, if he keeps talking like Elvis, like in that movie, it's
Apparently,
gonna
he
be-
has a completely different voice, though. Like,
thank
completely
God.
different.
That's good. Because, like, you know, I like everybody's giving him shit for. I mean, I get it. Like he must have went crazy method for that role. Then if he's having trouble shaking it by now, because a lot of people are saying it's intentional. I don't think it is. I don't know.
I don't
about
think
you.
it was.
Yeah.
They said he was doing it for the bit to be like, look how hard I committed to making Elvis's voice. It's like, I don't think he cares that much. Like,
Oh.
I know, he probably would have enjoed the Oscar. Brendan Fraser got it very deservingly so.
Brendan Fraser deserved it.
He
though.
deserved it. Austin Butler would have deserved it. He had a
Yeah.
good performance.
You
But
couldn't have gone wrong either way. It's just Brendan Fraser's was a bit more sweet. You know,
it
after
was
everything he
for
did.
sure. Thing is, I
Yeah.
bet the cynical part of me bet $5 on Austin Butler, so I lost all my money.
Oh my goodness! All of $5. That's not
Yeah,
good.
Aiden, how I kind of pride myself on knowing what's going to happen with the Oscars, but I lost
That
all
is
10 of the
true.
dollars I bet on different Oscar things, so
Yes.
it was unfortunate.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got like two more pieces of news, and then I'll let you get into your stuff, and then we can just talk about what we've seen. So apparently, Across the Spider-Verse, they've just released the runtime. It's supposed to be around 2 hours and 20 minutes, and that would make it the longest animated film ever, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't ever.
It's
I
the
can't
longest
like.
Hollywood animated film.
Yeah,
I should
that
be
sounds
right.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's my
think at
mistake.
least Studio Ghibli has whipped out a
Oh,
2.5
yeah, no,
hour
definitely.
movie for sure.
Yeah.
Miyazaki,
Yeah.
Miyazaki's new movie, considering how long they're working on it, I don't know if it's necessarily means it's going to be like super long. Because apparently, they were working at like a minute of animation a month or something crazy like that. I don't even remember.
God.
Something insane like that. But I mean,
Ruling.
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was, I didn't even think about the fact that Princess Mononoke is not actually that as long as that, but I thought it was. Yeah, that's cool. No, I'm ready for this to be a Spider-Man epic.
Yeah, yeah.
Considering what they've
I
been
think
doing with
it's gonna be well paced. So that 2
all
hours and
these-
20, it's gonna be nothing. It'll fly by quickly. I'm sure of it.
yeah, I mean,
That's-
considering what they've been doing with all these live action movies, I'm sure
yeah.
that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even think about the fact that it's probably the longest animated movie. That never just occurred to me. I just like, yeah, this makes sense for like a sequel to one of the bigger movies in a superhero franchise at this point. But
Yeah.
it's also animated, which, I think the way they, obviously the CG style helps them to churn that out a little bit faster. But, clearly they hopefully, have confidence that they have made every minute of that 2 hour and 20-minute runtime look good.
Yep.
And service a story that deserves that amount of time. So,
No, I totally agree with you there. I think it's gonna be fantastic. I'm just Counting the days until it comes out. And the best part about it is it's part 1 of 2. There's
Yeah,
another one coming out the very next year. So,
yeah.
lots of
Not
Spider-Man.
the only part one of a maybe not finale of a franchise. Well, actually, no. Mission Impossible is definitely ending, but Mission Impossible has their
Oh, yeah.
part one. Mission Impossible Part Dead Reckoning Part One, one of the more
Yeah,
interesting titles to come out
I
of
am
a
very excited for that
Hollywood
actually.
blockbuster. I am
Yeah,
excited for it. I am
yeah.
looking forward to Tom Cruise jumping off multiple mountains.
At 60 years old, no less. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
It just means he has, the fear things in his brain just turn off more as he gets older. So
Can
he
Scientology
just
do that?
I think I'm sure it does a little bit. Like the danger thing, it's like old. It's why I think sometimes old people get into like situations they like something into situations their body necessarily can't keep up with.
Yeah.
But of course Tom Cruise is just taking that to 11. But
Oh yeah. Totally.
and I'm sure he's
No.
one of those guys who in the first place already had like a lower fear receptor. Otherwise he probably wouldn't have done all this insane shit.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
kind of like because that was one of the fascinating things about Free Solo. If you ever saw that, because like the
No,
guy who
I've seen
yeah
Free
Free
Solo.
Soloed El Capitan like this huge rock cliff
Yeah.
without a harness or anything. They scanned his brain and they're like the fear receptor is very low. So obviously
What the fuck? Oh
some
boy.
people are
All
just
right,
built
well,
different. For
yeah, he really is. All right. Well, here's my last bit of news, and then we can just move on to your stuff. I'll be quick with this. Dodgeball from 2004 is finally getting a sequel. Vince Vaughn is coming back.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it'll be cash grab. Maybe it won't. I will wait till it comes to streaming. I don't really want to see that in theaters, but
At this point, I mean, Top Gun Maverick is like the one point of hope for like a good movie that's like a legacy sequel. Not that it's
mm-hmm.
the only good legacy sequel.
Oh
Maybe
no.
it is. I don't know. What's another good legacy
I still
sequel?
stand by The Force Awakens being a good movie. Okay, I don't care what anybody
Oh,
says. I think
I
that's
guess
a good
that
movie.
is a legacy sequel, and I like The
Yeah.
Force Awakens, or at least my
Yeah.
nostalgic 12-year-old brain likes it, and I'm not gonna rewatch it probably just to not have my film critic brain ruin
Well,
the
of course.
thought of it for me.
I mean, I
So
don't like it as much as Rogue One, but I do still think The Force Awakens is fabulous. So,
yeah. Because I'm
Yeah.
just like thinking of the other legacy sequel. Well, at least the one legacy sequel that came to mind was the Jurassic Park movie that came
Jurassic
out.
World. I liked it when it came out. I
The
don't.
world.
I don't really feel like rewatching it ever these days.
Yeah, or like particularly the ones with like Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill and everything.
Yeah. No, there's. You know what the worst part is? I've seen both of the Jurassic World sequels in theaters, and they're both not very good. To be
Yeah.
honest, I don't understand how they did that. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about that because I'm gonna go off on a whole tangent. I'm gonna be upset. So,
All
Daniel,
right.
what's your movie news? Give it to us.
So first thing, so the directors of Little Miss Sunshine and Battle of the Sex, no, is it? Yeah, Battle of the Sexes, which had Emma Stone.
Oh, I've
Uh,
heard of that.
Yeah, so the directors of that are making a movie with Paul Rudd, Amy Adams, and Tessa Thompson called The Invite, which follows a couple whose relationship is in a rut, so they invite their neighbors over for what turns out to be weekly orgies.
That sounds
Yeah,
like fun.
that sounds interesting. I have no idea what to think of this. It seems a little out of the park for they've made pretty wholesome movies in the past. I don't know if they're gonna like try to make an orgy movie wholesome, potentially like as
They
wholesome as it
probably
can
could, to
be.
be honest.
They
Yeah.
probably will, honestly. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I mean,
They're
yeah,
not
like
gonna
in the
make. They're
movie
gonna make an
Sunshine-
orgy as least raunchy as possible and more
Yeah.
of a therapeutic exercise for this couple, which I'm assuming
Oh.
is Paul Rudd and Amy Adams.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It seems like an interesting premise to get greenlit, especially in this, time that we're in of, what kind of movies get made. Speaking
Yeah.
of movies that really don't get made that much, a
Definitely seems
rom-com.
like an old sex comedy at
Yeah.
first glance, at least. Maybe it might be deeper than that, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll
Who
see.
knows?
I mean, Jennifer Lawrence has that movie No Hard Feelings or whatever. That
Did
will
that
probably
come out?
be no. That'll come out this summer. That'll probably be a signal to whether the sex comedy can stay alive.
Yeah.
What might
Well,
also
Maybe it'll be good. Who knows?
help that would be Anyone But You, which is an R-rated rom-com starring Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, set for theaters in December.
Movie that bloody broke up Glenn Powell's
Yeah,
relationship. Yeah.
yeah.
Poor
That's what
guy.
everyone's saying.
Like, I don't even think he. Do you think? I don't think he cheated. To be honest,
I don't think he cheated. I'm
I just
sure
think
that
he-
relationship had
yeah.
problems already, and they
But
just got
just the fact
exacerbated probably
that Sydney
by
Sweeney was giving him a bit of attention. That like that was the last straw or something like that. To him. That's right.
probably, I'm sure it's not the actual start, cause, and end.
Oh,
Like,
definitely not. Yeah.
there's no
if
way.
that's all it took, then yeah, there was definitely some.
Then
problems.
that was probably just a weak
Yeah.
relationship. Anyways,
Yeah.
the big news overall is the writer's strike right now.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ! Yeah, we gotta talk about that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the big. There's a lot of big things on the table. Frankly, one, the biggest thing seems to be for them the streamers and their ways of compensating writers, because streamers keep all their data to themselves because it's like industry secrets to know how many people are watching their stuff, how much value can actually be attributed to a film. I don't even know if they know that. They probably just have a whole algorithm for like certain blocks of films and content and see how much it makes, rather than like each individual movie, how much. It's also hard to measure that, frankly, to see how much a certain movie actually draws people to.
Well, it clearly is hard to mention it because they keep on greenlighting like sequels and TV shows on Netflix that are from garbage concepts initially. Like Tall Girl did not need a sequel. Who the fuck watched Tall Girl? Like the people who hate
People watch Tall Girl, though. That's the thing.
They hate watched it, and that's the
Yeah.
problem. Because people watched
They
it, they
did.
think, "Oh, we should make a sequel." Like, oh my goodness.
Because then they'll hate watch the sequel. Maybe I don't know if they did. I don't. They made a sequel.
They did. Tall Girl 2. It's on Netflix right now. Please go look it up. Seriously.
Okay.
Oh my
Because I
God.
know. Well, they made a sequel series to All the Boys I Loved Before, starring the little sister.
They did?
They did.
I mean, those movies aren't so bad though.
They're not as nearly as
they're
bad as
sweet.
Tall Girl or The Kissing Booth. Not
Oh
even
yeah,
close.
no.
They're
a
definitely a
bit
tier above
cutesy
that.
and everything, but like they're not a bad time. They're definitely one of the stronger Netflix rom-coms out there.
Yeah,
To be honest.
which is not saying too much, but
No, but there is some gold within all that shit. To be honest.
anyways,
Yeah.
the streamers keep all the numbers to themselves, so the writers have no fucking clue what their scripts, their movies are actually worth.
Yeah.
Which makes it hard for them to demand they be compensated fairly. Like there's been some insane stories coming out. Like one of the writers for The Bear on the night before the WGA awards, which they
I
actually
heard
won
about
for
this,
comedy, he had to
Yeah.
what was it? He had to cash a negative check. I don't know exactly how to work. Like get a negative check, like basically take money that he didn't have to rent a bow tie for the event.
Yeah.
And it's insane.
Insane. That's one of the most acclaimed shows on television right now, and the guy who wrote it, who helped write it, can't even afford a decent outfit for an awards event. I think that's insane, to be honest with you. Fuck.
Yeah.
And you're going to be a screenwriter one day, so I would hope that you would be compensated fairly. I mean, I think they definitely should be compensated more. Especially
No.
with the comedy shows on Netflix television. I don't know if you heard, but all the sketch comedy shows, and all the late night shows, they've ceased immediately because they can't do it without their writers, right?
No. Yeah.
And
I
that's
mean, they
kinda
churn
what
that
I'm
stuff
looking
out
at.
5 days a week.
Yeah.
They need an army of writers to make sure there's content for their hosts to say every day.
Exactly. No, and they work these people to the bone. Imagine working on Saturday Night Live and you're up I can't remember where exactly he said this, but Colin Jost from Weekend Update, right?
Yeah.
On Live? Yeah, he's the head writer of SNL with Michael Che, and they talk about how long their days are. It's insane. Sometimes they're up 20 hours a day, doing stuff for the show, and I can't imagine living like that. I mean, they definitely get compensated better than some writers, but there are some writers out there who probably work similar hours and get, way less pay.
Oh,
So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they're essentially trying to turn it into a gig economy when, that's just not sustainable for these writers who have
No.
families and to support,
Until artificial intelligence is good enough to make decent movies, you cannot treat people like they're robots. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. They asked for regulations around AI. Apparently, that's something that got declined. Because of course these studios are going to want to experiment with it. They're probably going to
Yeah.
do that since they're
Yeah.
on strike, and they're probably going to release like complete
Oh,
shit.
it's gonna be some hot garbage for
It's
sure.
I like in theory maybe they can churn out a script in AI. Someone's gonna have to edit that. I don't know who the fuck's gonna edit that. Like I don't even remember. Like I remember they made Quantum of Solace, the James Bond movie during the writer's strike. I don't know. Remember
The
who
director and Daniel
the
Craig were
director?
working on the script
Those
like
were the
on the
guys.
days they were filming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I guess that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna get like a star who's on board with this AI experiment and a director who also is. Give them a AI script and have them try to make it decent, and then just go ahead and shoot it. I guess that's probably
Yeah.
what they're gonna do, and it's gonna be
Probably.
hot garbage. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It it'll be interesting to see what like. It's honestly just. I mean, it's sad on all fronts. It's sad for production now because everything probably in like 2025 is gonna suck, or won't
Probably.
exist.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the strike's gonna go on. Like House of Dragons second season apparently is filming because the scripts got done, but they have no writers to rewrite them or edit them, which almost always happens. I'm sure that like always happens. Like just from my minor experiences shooting a written script, I rewrote like at least four things or changed like four things dramatically. And I don't know how
Yeah.
their contracts work, if they're allowed to bring in like if the directors or someone else is allowed to actually edit those scripts. Either
I mean,
way, like
they might be able to if they're not WGA, to be honest.
yeah, so like
Yeah.
I have no idea. So
Mm. Yeah.
it'll it's interesting to see what will happen with this, but yeah, I
Yeah.
know it's a loss for everyone, and these freaking CEOs get paid like these executives get paid so much money to make
Way
some of the
too much
most
money. They don't
shit
even make money
decisions,
movies.
and
Yeah.
like it's insane, frankly. I mean, they do their jobs are they are somewhat volatile, maybe even more so than writers to some extent. Well, but the thing is, that's only true for those writers who actually have like a set job with like a successful TV series. The
Yeah.
rest of them are obviously most likely bouncing from job to job depending on the success of the TV series they're working on or how long that that contract is for. Yeah, and they get those executives get paid so much money. It's insane. Like to see the numbers. So yeah, hopefully the writers get their due because they're the ones who are actually making the good stuff that you watch most likely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, to some extent I think people's taste across the board it seems maybe is dropping. Not that like only because I think there's less people who like because something like the especially like the typical Oscar contender crowd pleaser kind of thing is like dropping in popularity a lot. So those are not the movies people are seeing, and those are the kind of things that they aren't art house or special or anything, but they
Yeah.
are the kind of movies that should have enough of a wide release and commercial value to be seen by a lot of people, and they just aren't anymore. Not nearly as
Yeah.
much, nor are they getting made as much. Um, so I don't know. It's like, can the AI write the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Who knows? Maybe.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see.
I think what might happen though is I don't know if you remember. Well, you probably don't remember. I don't remember either, but I've read about it because we were both too young at the time. But when the first Writers Guild of America strike happened, Canadian TV actually started to become popular in the United States. So maybe this is an opportunity for some Canadian content to get out there. You know?
Maybe. That's also been interesting development with I don't know Bill C-11. I don't know if you've seen any of the discourse around that.
Yeah, what is it? I don't even really understand what it is because I hear so much I hear so many differing stances on what exactly it is. Like people say, "Oh, it's censoring the internet" or whatever, and then I've seen people saying, "Well, actually, no, it's not." I don't know what it is.
My understanding is that it will try to make it a law that online services in that operate in Canada, like YouTube, Netflix, etc., will have to promote and have
Canadian.
Canadian content to the same extent that like these broadcasting companies do.
But I don't think that's necessarily bad then, is it?
That's no. It basically,
I
in
haven't watched
theory,
it.
if they get YouTube
Yeah.
and Netflix to cooperate, it would mean that you will have in your they will have to alter the algorithm for Canadians, and they'll have to show more Canadian content in your suggested page. That's literally all the fucking means. So if you think you're being censored because you have to scroll more through Netflix, I'm sorry for you, because apparently that's just an absolute tragedy to democracy when you have to scroll farther to find what you want.
Pop off. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Love that for you.
I'm sorry, I just looked at the Twitter replies to this thing, and it's so fucking stupid. And everyone else is trashing Canadian content because they turn on CTV and it's just shit. And I don't blame them to some extent. You kind of have to, there isn't that much really good Canadian content. It's out there, but you really have to find it. Like, I've obviously seen it at this documentary film festival. Like, there's been some, great films.
I actually will be talking about, this is a Canadian TV show I've been watching, and I will talk about it, like, in our discussion segment after this. But yeah, there is, like you said, there is great Canadian content out there. It just takes a little bit to find it sometimes, because they don't exactly make it accessible via streaming, which would really help. That's why Kim's Convenience and Schitt's Creek got so popular in the first place. Like, put them on Netflix, they became known worldwide. Like, it's not that hard. I don't understand why more Canadian TV shows aren't on these streaming services. But anyways, at least the really good ones, So.
Yeah, probably because most of these streaming services don't want to buy them. This isn't forcing them to buy them, so that's a whole other different issue. And like getting these movies and shows that they make profitable, because there's also some stupid people who are saying oh, why don't these writers just get funding from places other than the government? And it's like, motherfucker, there is no investors in Canada. That's why everyone goes to the States, right? Yeah. The States, besides, they don't really have the same government funding that we have, but they have so many different investing companies, these giant hedge funds and shit that are just they invest in these companies and production houses that actually make movies.
Yeah.
That scale is taken, other than the fact that we're a smaller country, it's even, smaller relative to our population by, an insane amount, which makes it so that Canadian creators basically have to rely on, if they want to make something Canadian, they have to rely, mostly, I think at least 50% on the government. That's just how it works, right?
I will say, though, I feel like it might improve a little bit, especially with Ryan Reynolds about to open that new production facility in Markham. I think things could start changing a little bit,
Yeah.
There's definitely more interest in making films here in Canada these days.
It'll be but that's not necessarily Canadian content, though.
No, not necessarily. But I'm just saying, it could, having that facility so close to a major population center, I feel like is gonna help.
Hopefully,
it's gonna start getting the ball rolling a little bit more. I feel.
I'm thinking there's got to be in these investor funds that invest in different things that can invest in movies, and hopefully those business connections are being made. I don't know enough about that world to see where that could happen. Hopefully it does a little bit more, because it needs to be a lot more sustainable than it is right now, or I don't know, Canadian content will just die, which would be sad for sure. I think for a lot of people, they just wouldn't care. They just they're fine with their Hollywood product, they're fine with their big franchise movies that are coming out of the Hollywood machine.
It would be
if
really
they're fine with that, then I guess they're fine with that. Sometimes you just have to give the people what they want, even if it's
like I said, me personally, I know you will be as well, but I think both of us would be pretty sad to see Canadian content die out if that does ever happen.
For sure. That means if I do want to make movies, I'm just going to have to move to the States, I guess, which I actually really don't want to fucking do, probably. So
no, because taxes, and also we talked a little bit about this before we started, but we don't want to get shot. So,
true. I do not want to go to Texas. Not that I would need to go to Texas, but I also don't want to go to California. There is nowhere in the States I want to go. Everywhere that's
I go to the States on holiday, but other than that,
any place that's good for weather has some weird laws or is a weird place to live, California and Los Angeles, just no. Texas, fucking guns, way too many guns. Florida,
and Michigan is filled with abandoned auto plants run by raccoons.
Florida, homophobic as fuck, backwards, hot as fuck.
Yep.
Like some insane people live there.
Yep.
New York, way
Utah,
too
there's
busy.
Mormons. Disgusting.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Same with like
Uh,
Ohio. Maybe like Oregon. Maybe I'll
only in
move to the
Ohio.
Northwest. Maybe. That is the
Yeah.
only place I could see myself being able to figure it out. But like,
Yeah, no, fair enough. Seattle and Portland don't seem too bad. I wouldn't mind living there.
it's probably, yeah. I
But
have
yeah,
to imagine this on the top of the list because like, man.
yeah,
Anyways.
yeah. Alrighty.
Uh, yeah. Well, that was. Anyway, support the writers.
Support the
If you
writers.
want.
Yeah, if you don't support the writers, excuse my language, you're a cunt. All right, and you're part of the problem. Anyways,
It's kind of true.
yeah. Mm.
I
Is that
think.
gonna get us demonetized? Maybe I should have pulled
Well,
that
we're
out.
not monetized anyways because
Oh yeah.
we don't have enough subscribers or watch hours for that.
Shit.
You guys can change that though.
Yes, we do.
We're working on it slowly. I don't know. Last thing, Clint Eastwood's working on a movie again. Might be his last film. It's called Juror Number Two. Has Nicholas Hoult, Tony Collette, following a juror on a murder trial who realized he caused the victim's death and must decide whether to turn himself in or manipulate the jury to, I guess, find him not guilty. I don't know.
Or maybe find the guy that has been accused instead of him guilty or something like that.
Potentially. I don't know. Either way, it could
I
work.
think that's pretty interesting, to be honest. I like that sound. As long as Clint Eastwood's not starring in his films, he's better behind the director's chair these days, He's too old.
Yeah, he's too old. Well, dude is so old. Like, there's a reason I said it might be his last film. Like, how old is he?
He's
at least
93, I think.
he's in his 90s. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How old is he?
He's 92.
Oh, he's 92. He's about to turn 93 this year, then.
Yeah,
isn't he?
like that's pretty old for anyone working in the like. That's crazy. But
Also, like, the man, he knows how to have a good time, if you know what I mean. He has a lot of children. Like,
yeah, he's also had a lot. He's made a lot of movies as well, so he's had a good time making those. And he's been known for like actually making his movies below budget and like faster than production time, sometimes even. So that's why he's gotten so much like work because the team he works with apparently they know what he wants. They often do just like one takes. He has a lot of faith in his actors. All good things. So it'll be interesting. Not that it's always worked out to a quality product, but honestly, I think I have more problem with his writing in his movies, which he usually doesn't always do, than his directing. So,
yeah.
anyways,
No, I'm excited for that. Should we? Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or should we get into what we've seen?
I think we can. Oh, actually, I'll mention my last thing that Netflix acquired Adam McKay's next film. You know how big a fan I am of this guy.
Oh, I was about to say, you must be so happy about
I'm
this.
so happy.
Jeez.
It does have an actor I like. Robert Pattinson's in the lead role. It's called Average Height, Average Build. Also has Robert Downey Jr., Amy Adams, and Danielle Deadwyler. And it sounds like it could. Well, again, the metaphor is very clear, but it follows a serial killer who joins politics to change the laws to be more murder friendly, aka making fun of conservatives who are promoting gun laws.
Okay, so yeah, you and I think you and I are pretty liberal people, but when it comes to some American liberals, they're just so obnoxious. To be honest, I just don't like.
I don't
you know?
like. It's so self-congratulating all the time.
Literally, that's what I was about to say, man. It's exactly like that.
He's
Oh my
just,
god.
He's just like, look at how smart we are, and look how dumb they are. When
Like, ooh, big asteroid equal climate change. He's smart.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
when we're trying to like potentially, actually educate them and get them to understand and come to like
Just alienate
compromises.
them. Yeah.
He only frankly, I think he only adds to contributing to the polarization in America, which is becoming worse and worse when it comes to politics.
You're not wrong, to be honest.
When
Both
he's
fucking sides are being idiots. Mind you, one side is more racist than the other, but I mean,
That's true.
yeah.
But
But then the other side also is racist without knowing it while trying not to be racist. It's very weird, to be honest. I don't know how
it's
that
weird. One group yells is like saying, sort of like very much tiptoeing the line of like on Twitter of like, I'm not racist, but, and then the other ones are just like,
Yeah, that's a classic.
like they don't always say it verbatim, but you can always tell when they're like, Yeah, like they are racist. I'm just gonna point out this thing that isn't based on statistics that I've noticed about mostly black people, unfortunately, but it just whatever minority usually they're talking about.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it's crazy. Absolutely
anyways,
crazy.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well,
It
there you go. Adam
it's
McKay,
Adam.
you are making my friend Daniel slowly inch his way to an early grave. There you go.
I don't know. Yeah, like after his last film, like
He
I
just
don't.
looks so good. Oh my god, look at him.
It seems like he might have a little more fun with this one. And maybe make it a little less, because some of the stuff he does in Don't Look Up is so obnoxious when he has like Jonah Hill being like, "There's us, the cool rich, and you, the normal working folk," and I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, that was
Because that's literally what he's doing, though. He's the cool rich director, and you're the working class liberal. It's the same, like he's doing the same fucking thing. It's so insane how he doesn't see his own like irony.
Yeah.
Really, it's
Oh
crazy.
my god, no, it's fucking nuts.
But, anyways, yeah, I'm done with that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's
I know,
move
I
on.
was probably good. Yeah, otherwise we'd be here for an hour. You just fucking rambling and upset. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Well,
That would make for great content though. Maybe one day we'll have
one
to
day
just, like,
we'll talk about all of Adam McKay's movies.
you know,
and I will shit on
we
every
should
single
do
one.
that. But maybe we should have like a special episode where we each have a topic and we get an allocated time to rant about it. I feel like that would be interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because what? Oh yeah, I had to watch The Big Short again for my class, or part of it.
Yeah.
It was even worse than I remember. The
Oh,
editing
yeah.
is the most cancerous thing ever.
Yeah. I know
And
it's a bit. I still do like The Big Short though. I actually don't mind it. I think it's okay.
It was so annoying. I was gonna leave anyways, but I had to leave after 20 minutes. You know,
I just like bloody Ryan Gosling's character in that. I just think he's so funny.
I like Ryan Gosling. I love
Yeah.
that man. He's a Canadian treasure, more
Yeah.
so than Ryan Reynolds.
And I'm very excited for Barbie. I want to mention that quickly before we move on. I
Thanks.
will be wearing an all pink outfit to the premiere of that. You bet your ass, it's gonna be fucking awesome.
My goal is to get a pink suit so I can do Barbie and Oppenheimer back to back. I
Yeah?
think that's the optimal way to go personally.
I thought
but-
they moved Oppenheimer or something like
no, they
that.
didn't. It's
Oh,
no,
I heard
it's
somebody say
definitely
the word, but I thank
it's still
God
the
they
same
did.
day.
Yes. All right, great. I'm gonna go see it the same day then. Perfect.
Yeah. The ultimate double feature.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Well, no, I won't get into that. But the Margot Robbie in a bathtub thing, I have a lot of problems. I have problems with that in Big Short, but we will not talk about that.
Okay, great.
Uh,
Let's get into what we've seen, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of mentioned to you earlier. I saw the Mario movie. I've kind of said my thoughts on that. I don't think I need to say too much more, you
Probably
know.
not.
But peaches, 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 peaches.
I would like to just think that the Mario movie is the only clip that I've seen constantly taken from the screen captures on YouTube, which is just a, what if she says no, and then Bowser flames the Koopa and turns him to dry bones, which I actually think is a very cute design. I actually like that dry bones. I like the dry bones design. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
I just like to think
yeah.
that's the entire movie. So I probably won't watch the whole thing, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
I mean, you could just wait till it comes out in streaming and skim through it if you need to, or have it for background noise. It's not too bad.
That's true.
Yeah. But I also saw Evil Dead Rise, which actually I quite liked a lot. It was very reminiscent of the older Evil Dead movies. The one that came before it in 2013 was very much horror. There was like no elements of comedy in it. They played it pretty straight. It was a reboot or like a requel, I guess you could say. It was very bloody and very serious. It dealt with addiction. This one has its serious moments, but it brings back a lot of the comedic elements. I cannot tell you how many. I actually laughed a lot in the theater watching that shit. It was insane. Like they bring back. It's not really a big spoiler, but actually, it's not even really a spoiler. It's just one thing that happens in the movie. It doesn't contribute to the overall plot. But there's like a scene in like a hallway. That's all I'll really say. And the person who's been possessed initially is attacking all these other people, and she like chews out somebody's eyeball and then spits it into somebody's throat and they choke on it, and that was a callback to either the original Evil Dead or the Evil Dead 2, I can't remember, and that's how they die. I just thought that when I saw that happen, I was like,
That's
what
sick.
the fuck? It was
That's like
crazy.
that's the
Oh my
good shit
god.
of horror.
It was
When you
good
just do
shit, man.
you just do the
Oh.
stuff that's like absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's introducing it to a whole new generation, and like I thought that was pretty cool. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the blood work was amazing. There was so much blood used in this movie. My God, there's even a whole elevator that fills up with blood. You'll probably see that. It's quite crazy. There is something at the end. It required pretty good design. That's all I'll really say. It was some kind of creature. That's it. And the makeup effects, fantastic as always. The acting was also pretty good for what type of movie it was. Very committed performances. It's a bit slow at the beginning. After there's one opening scene, but after that it takes a little bit time to like get into everything. But after that, it's like non-stop and it pulls you in for the rest of the film. But yeah, the film opens with a pretty disgusting scene as well, which really set the tone for the rest of it. You probably saw it in the trailer.
I didn't
It's
watch the
like
trailer, to be
you haven't seen
honest.
the trailer?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't spoil it for you then. I want you to be as shocked as I was. But
Yeah. I think
yeah,
I want to
no,
start. Well, I haven't watched the Evil Dead first movie, so I want to watch those
yeah,
first.
no, they're great films. I quite like them. They're so silly and so bloody disgusting. I love it. But yeah, I had such a great time with that. I saw it with my friend. We could not stop laughing, like I said, and yeah, I might see it again. Maybe not in theaters, but I'll definitely watch it when it comes out on streaming. But yeah, I'm looking forward to more films in this franchise. So, and did pretty good its opening weekend. It cost like 15 million to make. They shot it all in Australia, which made it cheaper. And you do kind of hear some of the actors break from their American accents sometimes, but it's mainly the younger ones. I kind of get that; it makes sense. But yeah, I'm looking forward to more stuff from this franchise. I really like where they were taking it. But
Nice.
yeah, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, they were originally gonna only put it to streaming. I don't know if you knew
I
that,
think that they didn't, man. That needs to be
but
seen in theaters.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, and obviously it's worked out for them because like
yeah,
the movie's made a good amount of money for its budget, like you said. It's not a
yeah.
very high budget, so it's done pretty well.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
what was I gonna? I don't think you probably saw this. I saw Beau's Afraid.
I've not seen Beau's Afraid. No.
You probably would like it. I'm just gonna say that. I didn't really like it that much. It was very much for people who have mommy issues.
What? I don't have mommy issues, Daniel. What are you talking about? Oh my
What?
goodness. My, you said I might like it, and then you said
Oh, I said you probably wouldn't like it.
I wouldn't. Oh my god. I was like, what the hell?
No, I wasn't
Jeez.
trying to accuse you of having mommy issues. Jeez.
That would have been funny.
I would never accuse anybody of that. But
Though.
yeah, that was the thing. It was really long. It did not need to be that long. Everyone pretty much agrees on that. Even people who really like the film say it was too long. I agree.
Mm.
And by the end, it just felt. I just didn't know what it was going for, and like I eventually kind of realized it's all about how like this mom has been controlling Joaquin Phoenix's life, and I'm like, this isn't relatable to me at all. Like when I think about this whole concept, I'm just like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
just like not that psychological issues are as simple as just like get over it kind of thing, which is what I joked about in my review of it. But it kind of does seem like that. Like the first third or so is pretty good. Everyone likes that first third the best, where it's just kind of like they turn the whole atmosphere. His entire world is just a production of his anxiety. I thought that was an interesting thing to explore, but then they get into like the weird sort of, and it was kind of interesting to see what like was literal and wasn't literal. That was what kept the movie engaging for me. But then I realized by the end, it was all supposed to kind of be real, which made it like a lot less interesting.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't know. None of the horror worked for me. It was supposed to be a comedy. I saw the jokes. Like I understood the jokes. I didn't think they were funny.
Mm.
Like what I will give Ari Aster credit for is he he went full out with this. It's a pretty good technically. I think the cinematography is kind of weird, the look of it, especially on the actors. The actors look weird, which I think is the point. But I just didn't think it was visually appealing. But like the production design and the visual effects are all really well done. the acting, Joaquin Phoenix is obviously great. They're all very committed to their roles. They're all great. But yeah, I don't know. They just really missed the mark for me, and I don't think it didn't connect with me, and I don't think it's as deep as some people think it is. But if they think it is, and it helps them think about their life differently or their relationship with their parents differently, I guess so. It hasn't for me.
No, I mean I did hear kind of a mixed bag opinion on it already, so I am. It is interesting that you have that same opinion, and I do trust your opinion on movies. So if you say I probably wouldn't like it, then maybe I shouldn't see it. Mind you, though, you did also convince me to watch Mother and not The Lobster. What's Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Both bangers, certified bangers right there. Especially The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Oh my
Modern
God.
masterpiece.
Like family talking about like all that weird shit out in the open, and then oh my goodness, Jesus. Well, not that I want to make that clear. Sorry, no. Menstruation is not weird. Just the way they were talking about it was weird. I need to. Okay, yeah. I don't want to get fucking.
No, we understand it.
Okay, good.
You
Just
think
making.
menstruation is weird? We understand.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, yeah. When you bring up those movies, I'm like, for one, they had a lot less absurd. Well, production absurdism. They were just weird people, especially in Killing the Sacred Deer. There is that. They served a purpose though that I enjoyed. The purpose that Beau was Afraid served, did not really enjoy. For that reason, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. But I jokingly gave it a half-star rating on my Letterboxd.
okay.
Just to see.
I've actually been doing letterboxes now. I've got a couple reviews under my belt.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't even give my previous film a rating, did I?
No.
Okay. Well, let's see. I'd probably give Evil Dead Rise like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's a solid film. Like I think it's just about there. It's not perfect. It's not bad. It's exactly where I hoped it would be, and I'm glad, to be honest. I will maybe give it closer to a 7 just because of the amount of times I was laughing. I was really not expecting that, but yeah, there you go.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. I also saw La La Land for the first time, by the way.
Oh yeah. What did you think of that?
Pretty goddamn good, I'd say. I mean, I still think Moonlight deserved its Oscar win over it, and I agree with the decision there. But yeah, no, the camera work was fantastic. The songs were great. Ryan Gosling is in peak Sigma mode in that film. I loved it. And Emma Stone is quirky and weird as always. So, nothing wrong with this film. I can't think of anything that I didn't like about it, to be honest. It's all things considered, it's technically perfect, but it's not. I'm not gonna give it a perfect rating. I'd probably give it like a 8 out of 10. I'd say. Quite liked it. Yeah, it was a good time. Maybe 8.5 actually. I should really appreciate that more because the camera work was phenomenal, and I always appreciate that stuff.
Yeah. No,
But,
La La Land was a film that I pretty much instantly fell in love with. I still have it listed as a 10, and for now I will stick by that. I think I've watched it twice. Neither time did I think I need to take this down a peg.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I figured we could talk about The Last of Us quickly, actually.
Yes, I would love to. Let's do it.
Which, was on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey.
Mm-hmm. Daddy.
Video game adaptation. Probably one of the more acclaimed video games of all time.
Yeah.
Did you know anything? How much did you know about the video games before
Oh, I
watching this?
knew the entire story. Like I've watched
Okay.
YouTube playthroughs because I don't have a PS4, right? So
Fair enough.
yeah.
I didn't know anything personally. I had pretty much nothing. My brother
definitely probably
spoiled
changed
one
your-
thing for me, and I don't remember what it was anymore.
Mm.
But because he knows the storyline, but I didn't know anything about that, which I was glad for. I was glad I didn't know what was going to happen next. Overall, for me, it made the experience more engaging overall.
Well, that's good. Yeah. What did you think overall of it? Like, what were your favorite moments? Would you say?
My favorite moments. What was my favorite? I don't know if I gave any of the episodes a 9. Like, Just I was rating them on this thing called Serialized, which is basically Letterboxd for TV shows. I don't think I gave any of them a 9.
Mm-hmm.
I think the performances are the standout overall to me.
Oh, definitely.
Especially from Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Like, they fit those characters just so well.
Do you think we'll be seeing some Emmy nominations next awards show?
They for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely think they each have an episode where it makes a lot of sense to nominate them.
Oh, definitely.
To submit. Yeah, there's no reason they shouldn't be. I don't think they'll win, probably, especially with Succession around. Succession is just taking everyone's
I tell you what,
over.
I feel like what's his name, Murray Franklin and Nick Offerman. They probably could get Emmy awards for guest actors. To be honest,
But only one of them can because of.
Yeah, no, I know only one of them can, but they're both probably going to be nominated because that was episode 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, episode 3. That was probably my favorite episode of the show, to be honest. Perfect television. It's amazing. I was sobbing during that. I don't cry very often watching media. Like, it's very rare for me. I've only cried I think maybe 2 or 3 times ever watching movies, and this TV show has made me cry 3 times altogether. It was fucking crazy. Oh my god. And just the love story in episode 3 was perfect. I really liked the progression there. I wasn't sure what they were going for initially, but then as soon as they got closer, I was like, ooh, they are gay. And I was like, hey, I like that. And
Wait, so you didn't know they were gay?
No, I mean, I wasn't sure what it was building up to, but I could tell that there was tension. I was like, is this where they're going with it? Or is this just gonna be like a Top Gun situation? And then I was like, okay, so they're actually gay. Fantastic. And yeah, I thought it was great. The writing in that episode was great. I loved the characters' ending. I'm glad that we didn't see their bodies. We just saw them as as they were, just going upstairs one last time. I thought that was really sweet. And then to end the episode with Linda Ronstadt was brilliant. It was a perfect hour of television. I don't know. What did you think about that episode?
My hot take is that I think it is good. I don't think it's I don't think I even have it in the top half of the episodes, if I'm being honest. I know. I don't know. So, I think I am homophobic. Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett were great.
Oh, Murray Bartlett, that's his name. Jesus Christ.
When that dude, I think he's amazing. When he shows up in an HBO thing, though, it's gay, because he also was in The White Lotus, playing gay concierge. He was also in a great show that I think you need to see called Looking with Jonathan Groff. He's great in that.
Okay.
But yeah, he's amazing. I don't know what it was about this. Only because I felt like, it was really good. It was very heartfelt. It was well made. It maybe did feel a little overfamiliar to me in some aspects. Just as a love story as a whole. I enjoyed kind of especially the tension, being built up between them that, kind of ends with this very, mutual understanding, and seeing, Nick Offerman as, this very tough bootleg guy, then, coming to be able to, be open and vulnerable with someone was very nice.
Yeah.
One thing, that kind of, one of the more emotional scenes when he's taking out, Frank, is it Frank, who's Murray Bartlett's character again? That's is that Frank?
I think he's Frank.
Yeah, Bill and Frank. Yeah, so he's Frank, and when he takes out Frank, when Bill takes out Frank in that that last day, and that music plays, it's the same music they use a lot in Arrival. So all I was thinking was Arrival, and they did the same thing in The White Lotus. Actually, there's one scene where 2 characters are fighting, and they play music directly from the composed soundtrack for Arrival. And it just, not that it's entirely the show's fault, obviously, using music from that ends up in other things just happens, but, it was distracting for me.
Probably not as many people have seen Arrival who are watching The Last of Us, though. That's the thing.
Probably. Yeah, most likely. And, and maybe for someone who's only watched Arrival once back in, 2016 when it came out, probably doesn't think of it. I watched it twice probably in the past 3 years, so and I listen to that track all the time on Spotify. So like
Yeah, fair enough. That
if
makes more sense.
something if a song that I listen to a lot doesn't fit something perfectly, it does feel a little off to
Quality.
me. That's just
Yeah,
personal preference, and
that's
yeah,
fair.
overall, I just didn't emotionally connect like other people did for whatever reason. Just
Nothing wrong
comes
with
down
that.
to
That's okay.
I
We were all
didn't.
entitled to our opinions, no matter how shocking they are. I still respect you enough as a critic, so yeah. But no, I mean, I also thought episode 5 was quite well done. That was more action packed, and we finally got to see the bloater, which is the big motherfucker. That
Yeah,
was when he just rips that guy in half, and then
yeah,
oof. What's it? Melanie Linsky's character. I also I hated her, which is good because she was supposed to be hated, and I'm glad that she got the gruesome death that she deserved. She really became what she was fighting against initially in Fedra. So yeah, it was also very interesting that she got killed by a clicker child because she does talk about how children die every day, and then like a child is the reason why she dies. I don't know.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's a good episode. I like
yeah.
Lamar Johnson in it. I saw him recently.
Oh yeah, the
Also,
next step guy. I love him. He's
yeah,
fantastic.
he was in
Yeah.
Brother, which is also
Yeah.
a really good Canadian movie that did very well at the Canadian Screen Awards,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
I heard
also
about
gay, by the way. It's basically the
it.
Canadian
Lamar Johnson's
Moonlight.
gay.
Huh? Not Lamar Johnson's character in that movie. Not Lamar Johnson himself, I don't think. But
Oh, just in
in
brother or something
his
or.
brother in that movie is gay.
Oh, okay.
Aaron Pierre is the
Okay.
actor who plays that character.
I see.
You
Okay.
should check out Brother. Is all I'm saying.
No,
Both
I've heard
you and
good things about it. I'll
everyone
make sure and check it out.
else watching. Yeah, I really liked that episode. I think I felt a little more emotional about the deaths of both the kid and Lamar Johnson's character
Oh,
than
yeah, that
maybe.
shit hit crazy. Yeah, that was bad.
But like,
Ugh.
I also I really wish he didn't kill. Like, I think just narratively, it would have been cooler to see him go out a different way. Like, I understand kind of that moment. It just
Yeah.
did feel like a little much just to go from like I
I
don't
know
know.
it's pretty shocking, but it's actually ripped straight from the game, and that's
I'm
what
sh-
happened.
yeah,
The game is very much like that as well. It has it's weird. It has these moments of like levity, but then it'll just shock you with something horrific happening.
yeah, and it's
Like
in
like
that
it took us
way.
from episode 1 with that.
Yeah, and in that way, to me, it
Yeah.
kind of dabbles into melodrama a bit too much, where it's just like death, death,
Yeah.
feel so much emotion kind of thing, which
Yeah.
doesn't really work for me. I very much like it a little more subtle. Um, but still a very good episode.
What,
Also
what was
really
your favorite episode?
liked the Bella Ramsey episode, like the Left Behind
Oh
with
yeah.
Storm
That
Reed. I
was
thought
good.
she was good. Um, yeah, that whole episode was great.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, not much else to say. It was, it's
No,
really
I
good.
mean, I definitely agree. I think the show is quite good. I'd say it's like an 8 out of 10 or something like that. I don't know if you'd agree with me there, but I really enjoyed it quite a lot. I think it jumped off perfectly with the first episode. I really enjoyed that
Yeah,
opening part because that's also it's pretty much a lot of it is from the game. There are some stuff they added onto it, obviously, to make it like television length, at least for HBO.
hmm
And I think it was great. Like even for like the first scene when they're like we go back to like the '60s and there's like that talk show and the talk show and the doctor's on there. He's talking about how fungus could take over the world eventually, and that's exactly what happens. I don't know. It was very very spooky. And then in episode 2 when they do the thing in Indonesia, that was also very eerie. I really like those. I think some of the best parts of the show were when they went back in time to show like how people were reacting in real time to this outbreak. I think it
hmm
was quite interesting.
yeah.
But
And I mean,
yeah,
'cause I think this film deals less with like the apocalypse itself and more with how people deal with it and the different
yeah,
reactions to it, and then
yeah.
obviously this storyline happening continuously after, but also goes back in time many times to see how different people reacted to it, like
No,
Bill and
I
Frank,
think that's perfect.
and
Yeah,
you know Bella Ramsey's character, Ellie, growing up in this like training facility thing with uh, Storm Reed's character.
yeah,
And yeah, no, it's really good. I think the most whoa moment. You know how I mentioned like I like my death a little more subtle, but I think it was really effective, that scene with Bella Ramsey like killing in the episode 8 where she kills the freaking weird cult preacher guy.
That was pretty good.
That the emotion on that episode's maybe my favorite, maybe.
Isn't it the first person that she's killed? Sorry, I mean, aside from her friend, I mean, like, sorry, aside from her love interest. Sorry, I need to. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the first, like, like threat that she's had to neutralize that wasn't an infected person.
Yeah. No, I think. Did she kill her, or did she just leave? Maybe.
No, I'm pretty sure that she had to put down her friend. Yeah, no, because she kind of alludes to that she had to kill somebody before.
Okay.
Right? Because like her friend got affected,
specifically,
and she couldn't just leave her there, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the conflict of the final episode. It's not as effective as I think it was probably in the game.
No, you're right, because you're really taking control in the game, and also it felt too short.
It felt very short. It did feel very sudden that, we're going to the facility. All of a sudden, Pedro Pascal is just lighting people up.
Yeah.
And then I kind of do like the end conflict where, it's very understandable that, like, the character conflict and how much they've built up to this is very well done.
Yeah. What about the draft sequence though? I thought that was kind of cool as well. That's right from the game. Yeah, they actually did that like at the Calgary Zoo. I don't know if you know that, but they built a green screen set at the giraffe enclosure there.
That was cool. It was kind of cool that this whole thing was shot in Canada, and how it can represent the entirety of apocalypse America.
Yeah, I mean, because there's so much fucking empty land out there, to be honest. But it was interesting that there was mountains like 8 miles away from Boston. I thought that was a little bit of an oversight that they should have thought of.
Boston. This is just Boston. I just joked that this was a documentary of Boston right now, actually.
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah, Boston. Yeah, the Bruins suck. Anyways.
They did lose in the first round.
They did lose in the first round, yeah. Alrighty, what else have I... Well, I guess I can quickly talk about the Canadian show I was kind of alluding to earlier.
Okay, I'll quickly say I also gave Last of Us an 8 out of 10. But more episode. Yeah. I never rated an episode higher than 8 though, and I rated a couple of 7 and one a 6. But everything else was an 8. So.
No, I agree with you. It's a fantastic show. I can't wait for season 2. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're moving production to Vancouver actually. So they're moving production. They're producing it they're shooting it in Vancouver now. So Alberta losing out on that big investment.
Alberta been taking L's, honestly.
True though. Yeah. Anyways, what show are you going to talk about?
Well, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I've watched both versions of the show, but it's called 19-2. One's in French, one's in English, and it's about police officers in Montreal and their daily lives. I think it's probably one of the better cop dramas on television. It does delve into propaganda a little bit, if you know what I mean. Like, it does tend to justify police officers doing fireable offenses quite often, but the acting is fantastic. It also has Jared Keeso from Letterkenny in there, if you didn't know that. But it's one of his earlier roles. And it is interesting to me because he's this big goofball now in that show.
Yeah.
And then he's really serious, really composed in, this one. I quite like that he has quite a range as an actor. I think he did a very good job in that show. Like, he has some great storylines. Also has great camera work too. Like in first episode of season 2, there's this really fantastic 18-minute long one take of a school shooting, and it's brilliantly done. I think it's the amount of time it must have taken to rehearse and act that out. I thought was really impressive. I haven't seen too many things like that on American cop shows, and I thought that it was good because on Canadian TV you can show and say a lot more than you can on American TV. Our censorship laws are different, for those who didn't know. So, there's more swearing, there's, blood, and you can actually show a lot of violence, and you feel the weight of it. It's not as, dramatic and, overdone as it is on some American cop shows where they're, dying words, that type of stuff. There's nothing really like that. People get shot, they fucking die. They hit the floor really fast, and the brutality of it is you see the reactions afterwards. You don't see them slowly breaking down and like fading away or whatever. But
Right.
yeah, and it also deals with mental health, alcoholism, drug abuse, overcoming those things as well. Which it's pretty serious for a cop show. It does show that there is a dark side to police work, and also like officers who bring their work home with them, so to speak. They don't handle the pressures of the job that well. And also, it's just nice to see like a Canadian show, you know, be in the place where it's being filmed, because there
Hmm.
was this other cop show which I really like that takes place in Toronto. It's not mentioned that it takes place in Toronto until the last couple seasons, because they were trying to keep it ambiguous to be more accessible to American audiences,
Right.
which is I kind of get, but I like that it's really exposing and showing the culture of Montreal. I quite like that. But yeah, I think it's a solid show. I give it like 7 out of 10. If you want to watch it, it's for free on YouTube. Like it's just there. There's like playlists. There's 4 playlists for each season, and the seasons are pretty short. Seasons 1 through 3 are 10 episodes each, and then season 4 is 8 episodes. So it's not
Yeah.
too bad.
Solid.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
diverse.
I'll mention a couple of the documentaries I've been watching.
Sure, go
Some
ahead.
good stuff you should be looking out for. The American Gladiators documentary. Do you know the American Gladiators like show at all?
No, I don't think so.
Because I mean, to be fair, I didn't know either before this, but it was like one of the bigger reality shows, one of the first bigger reality shows I think in the States, which
Mm.
was like basically guys going up against each other in these like athletic competitions. Like they would do like jousting with like the giant Q-tip things, um, running obstacle courses, and like wild things. But it looks at like the creators of the show, how it was a guy in two guys from Erie, Pennsylvania. One who was an
Mhm.
Elvis impersonator originally, and that actually
Mhm.
landed him in show business, and that's how it got started. But really, the guy who created it, it seems, was a guy named Dan Carr, who was like a legend among the steel workers union in Erie, and he came up with the idea for the American Gladiators. But for a long time, this other guy, Johnny Ferraro, the Elvis impersonator, took a lot of the credit, took sole credit for a long time, and like the money and the fame that came along with it. And also, like, it goes through, it looks at all the athletes, like the gladiators, that like who were like the Goliaths of the whole show, who like random people would try out to try to challenge them. It's a whole American Odyssey, man. Like, I would mention, like, it's almost like a Social Network kind of film with like, like it's like with like it's an investigative crime documentary almost, also like
Oh my
along with
goodness.
all this stuff. Like, it's really good, man. It shocked the
That
hell
sounds
out of me.
interesting.
It's really good. It's one of the ESPN 30 for 30 things, so definitely check that out if you get the chance.
Okay. Yeah, I think I will then. Yeah. I mean, I've got
Um,
Streaming Day. I can just pirate it if I
yeah.
need to. Oh, shouldn't.
And then still a Michael J. Fox movie, which is coming to Apple.
Oh,
I got to see.
that's nice.
Really good. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I
Tells
love
us,
Michael J. Fox, so yeah, I'll definitely check that out if it's on Apple TV. I have that, so.
yeah, that will be. I don't know when it's coming to Apple TV, but I'm sure it will eventually. But yeah, probably pretty soon. But very enjoyable. Really well made. The editing's very engaging. They use the recreations and cut it with archival footage of Michael in movies as well. Like they use moments in his movies to help tell his personal story really
Mhm.
well, like better than probably any documentary I've seen, especially from like a celebrity documentary. They do that really well. Um, and yeah, really engaging story of who he is, and his fight against Parkinson's, obviously.
Great.
Yeah, good movie.
Fantastic. I'll check that out then. Thanks, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you might be able to see in the future. Oh yeah, Stephen Curry underrated.
Oh,
That's
I love
also
Steph Curry.
That's also coming to Apple. Also, like, yeah, not as good as the Michael J. Fox movie, but still
Was it
very
just like
good.
talking about his rise to prominence in the NBA then, or?
Basically, it covers his time at Davidson mainly. That's kind of
Oh,
what's
okay.
focused around, and like his run with Davidson to the Elite Eight in March Madness. Also, they cut that with because they filmed this during the 2022 season, 2021-22 season. So they also document his run to the finals.
To
And
show the parallels, basically. Okay.
yeah, where he actually when they won the finals in
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
2022.
I was
So
there for that shit, man. Everyone was bloody calling him like washed on clutch, and then oh my god, people are idiots. I'm sorry, I love
yeah,
that man. He's obviously the greatest shooter to ever play the game of basketball,
yeah,
and one of the best point guards of all time. He might be number one, to be honest. By the end of his career, he's done a
yeah.
lot. A
No,
great
yes,
resume.
for sure.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Yeah.
no, good documentary.
Definitely a great document. And this sounds like a great documentary. I'll fucking have to check that out. Man, I eat up anything with Steph Curry in it. Not that I'm a shill, and I don't think he has issues with his game, but you know, that's fine. He doesn't have many. Anyways, anything else you want to talk about, or?
Did you see Air at all?
No, I haven't seen Air yet. I've been meaning to. I
It's
haven't
it's
really
good.
come-
I'm not huge on it, but you
Mhm.
know, it was. I think the direction's a bit off. I think the writing is good for the most part. Like it's very spirited. I think Matt Damon is really good in it. Ben Affleck is pretty good in it. It does feel a little over exaggerated at parts. It feels very much like some of the things the characters say. It's like they knew because it's about Michael Jordan, right? So it's like they knew how like even though it takes place before he's even in the NBA, it seems to hyperbolize a lot how good they thought he was actually going to be. They obviously knew he was going to be great, otherwise they wouldn't have put all this investment in him for the shoe deal, but
Yeah.
it makes it sound like they knew he was going to be the greatest of all time when I don't think they had that high expectations. Maybe just,
I
you
think they
know,
just knew it was going to be good because they kind of talk a little bit about that in The Last Dance as well. I don't know if you remember that, but
a little bit.
yeah. Okay, so it's getting decent reviews right now. It's at 92 on Rotten Tomatoes with 73 on Metacritic, which is pretty good.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, A plus on A on Cinema Score, I should say.
Yeah.
All right,
Pretty good.
great. All right. Well,
Um
anything else?
I was gonna just some suggestions for what you should watch, like some Canadian content you could watch. Nirvana, the band, the show. It's on CBC Gem. It's really good, really funny. I think that's something you need to definitely watch. And if you enjoy that, maybe check out the director's other stuff. It's the director's Matt Johnson. He's a guy who went to York actually.
Oh,
But,
great.
He made this movie called Operation Avalanche, which is like a fake documentary about guys from the CIA faking the moon landing, which is really good. I really enjoyed that. He's also
cool.
making Blackberry, which is a Canadian film
Yeah,
that's
no,
coming
I
out. Yeah,
heard about
he's
this
behind
one.
that. So,
Great.
but check
What-
out.
What's it called? Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny is in that, isn't he?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind watching that. I do think it would be really interesting to learn about how BlackBerry came to be and then how it fell so rapidly as well.
Mhm.
You know, 'Cause
Yeah.
that was like the phone that literally, aside from like Nokia's, that was like the phone that literally everybody had. Like my dad had a BlackBerry. He even had like BlackBerry tablets. I don't know if you remember those, but they
No.
made like iPad style tablets for a
I
while.
didn't know that, but
Yeah.
so definitely check out Nirvana, the band, the show, and because all his stuff is great. He also made a movie called The Dirties. That was his like debut feature, which he made for like 10K, like without
Okay.
any studio financing or anything. So, but it,
Yeah.
it did pretty well. So
Good. Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. Alrighty. Well, anything else you want to mention quickly, or
no,
have you seen John Wick 4? Because I did.
I did not see John Wick 4 actually.
I'll quickly mention that. I want to wrap this up because I have a few things I need to do, like mainly take a shit. But yeah, I'll quickly mention this. So yeah, I mean I think it's probably not going to surprise you that I liked it. The action sequences, obviously they were fantastic. It's much more of the same stuff we've seen before, but also turned up to 11. There was some really inventive camera work as well. There was one sequence where it's like a long take. It starts, like a normal camera angle coming from behind John Wick as he's entering a room. But then what they do, they flip it up, and you see like above, like as he's working through each room. And I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed that. It's almost like an old school type video game in that way. But yeah, it was pretty fantastic. And Yeah, I mean, do you have any interest in seeing it or?
I do. I just never made it to the theater to see that.
Well,
And
yeah, I won't spoil it for you. Then I was about to
oh yeah,
maybe spoil.
don't spoil it for
Yeah,
me,
I
please.
won't spoil it. No worries,
Would
I understand.
appreciate that.
But yeah,
Um,
you'd probably like it. I think it's good.
yeah, no, it is 3 hours long though. I should have
Yeah,
watched that instead of Beau is Afraid, but the show times for it also didn't line up for me.
yeah.
I don't know if it's
It does
still.
also have a tribute to Lance Reddick too. I will also mention
Oh
that.
frick.